Hey
Shit.
man, what is good, everybody? You listen to Chump Dropper Sports. I'm your host, Shanti T. Stewart, back here with my dog, D. Stevenson. Hey man, what's good with you, man?
I need a damn haircut. That's what's good with me. I need one bad, bro. I be sick of coming on here. I ain't got no haircut, bro. Looking bad. Represent my mama bad. That's crazy. Bro, hey man. Mama, I'm sorry,
Hey,
bro. For real.
hey, bro, I can't even front with you, but before we get started, I remember one time, bro, my mom hit me one time. She was like, "Damn, you didn't think you need to shave before you recorded?" Hey, I look back at it. I look back at it. I was like,
Oh, yeah.
"Dang,
Yeah.
yeah, you got a point." Yes, yeah, I could have cleaned that up on.
Man, I got this George Jefferson receipt line at the top of my head. I gotta get that thing gone, bro. I gotta go. I'm sick
Oh
of that.
man. Oh man.
Hey, shout out
Oh
to the Rose
man.
Bowl hat, bro. I like that. That's cool. That's fly.
Oh yeah. Hey man. Hey look, bro. I look and man, shout out to Pat Son, bro. You know what I'm saying? Pat Son be getting your boy right, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like
That
them
shit.
boys,
That's
them boys
just
doing
tight.
their thing.
That's tight.
Yeah,
That's tight.
them boys kind of underrated with hats, bro. I kind of like, I'm like,
Yeah.
it's like the only thing I buy from them boys, but like, they got a nice little hat selection though. But you know what I'm saying? Basketball season is still, NBA basketball season is still upon us. Really ain't much else going on in the world of sports right now other than this. So that's all we gonna give y'all this week. We can talk about some of the series that just wrapped up. Nuggets and Clippers. Nuggets and Clippers
Mhm.
wrapped up
Mhm.
as of today, Sunday, in which we're recording
Mhm.
this. Nuggets and Clippers wrapped up on Saturday night. That series to me, man. I mean, Jokic is already one of those ones, right? We already know that. I think the other guys, the rest of that team really stepped up in the last couple games in that series for Denver. Help propel them to the conference semis to face the Oklahoma City Thunder. No, I won't say no surprise. I was proud of how they played because up until that point we hadn't seen the rest of the guys step up. It felt like it was just Joker for the majority of the season for them, and seeing Jamal Murray have a big game there in that series, seeing MPJ and Aaron Gordon finally, what I'm saying, turn it on. Russell Westbrook doing what he's been doing all year, which is play with high levels of intensity and high effort. Um, Congratulations to them. They move on to the next round, man. What were your thoughts?
You know what, man? Going into it, a lot of people thought the Clippers were gonna expose a lot of that experience within that game, especially with the Kawhi. But I mean, obviously, Game 7, James Harden showed up. I don't know if you're familiar with that. I'm pretty familiar with that, especially with his days in Houston, 2018. But yeah, he didn't really show up. You know what I'm saying? I think a lot of people are in question of like, his legacy with that, and can he, close out a series, anytime in his career, you know what I'm saying? But there was a lot of resilience when it came to Denver. I watched the entire game last night, and you just seeing a lot of grit from them guys, and Russell Westbrook just ranking the energy like he always does, and yeah, like it got to the point where it was a competitive game, sort of least. And Denver, I looked up at the screen, and Denver just ran away with it. I guess they went on a good run, and them Bulls was up probably like what 15. It was over. It was over by the time it was third quarter. I was like, by the time that happened, I was like, yeah, that's a wrap. Cause but I think moving forward, when you look at Denver, man, it's just like they got OKC, and that's I don't know, I don't
And
know,
look,
man.
before we move on to Denver OKC because we'll go to that next. And just to piggyback on the Kawhi comment, not Kawhi, but the James Harden comment. Every I was talking to some friends of mine that was like, man, like I think we still, 'cause he a Clippers fan. And I said, I think we still got a shot. I think we can still make something happen. I was like, dog, the fact that you have to rely on James Harden to play at a high level in a critical playoff game, that's not going to work.
Right.
It's simply not going to work. And I'm disappointed because coming into this series, I thought that James can finally turn it around. I thought he finally had the right partner. Not that he hadn't had the right partners before, but hey, maybe with Kawhi Leonard being as great of a late game situational player as he is, I thought that he could, like, maybe those walls would go away. But when you only take 8 shot attempts in a game and you score under 10 points, it's like you're playing as if you're afraid of the moment. And I can't. And I do wonder what happens to James Harden in these moments. and the playoffs in general, where it's like, dog, you you seem to freeze in these huge moments. His legacy is what it is, man. His legacy is going to be a great regular season performer, bad playoff performer. He won't be remembered to me as one of the greats as he probably could be because of these terrible playoff performances. The Clippers themselves, this I mean, I knew it was a wrap for them as a franchise. But with the experiment of Kawhi Leonard and Paul George and now James Harden, it's over with, man. It has not culminated into anything significant. It's led to a Western Conference Finals appearance a few years ago. That's it. And I mean the reality is, man, is that like, dog, maybe PG was the most important piece to that puzzle more so than anybody.
Yeah,
He
yeah,
was the only
yeah.
guy that was able to take them to the
Mhm,
brink of the NBA Finals, man. And so I don't know,
mhm.
man. It's hard to see it go down like this, but Kawhi Leonard isn't the same two-way player anymore. I think people have to get that image out of their heads of what we saw like 2013, 14. Yeah, that guy doesn't exist anymore. James Harden is a bad playoff performer. That's been historically what he's been. There's no need to hope and wish for anything else. Um, and this team this isn't going anywhere, bro. And they're an older group that is past their prime, and this is kind of where we're at.
Yeah, I think a lot of people are starting to like misjudge the whole situation because a lot of people thought, oh, KG, yeah, sorry, KG, PG was the problem. That whole offseason, they was like, yeah, he's going to Philly. He the problem. He can't do that. When you got a guy who's known to be one of the best scorers in the league in history, he can't even close out a game 7. So, like you said, it's kind of sad to see this, up until present time, this play out the way it did. You know what I'm saying? And honestly, man, it is kind of sad. I mean, just from James Harden stands, going to multiple teams, what I'm saying, and just not being able to, finish the way he has, what I'm saying. He's a very prominent player. But that's crazy. It's crazy how you go here and then the window was open again, yet again for the Clippers. I would say as a franchise though, just to piggyback off of that, as a franchise, they have had like the most, unfortunate luck when it comes to the window being not wide open, but wide enough to win a championship, and they just never was able to break that ceiling. You know what I'm saying? But now it's just like two of your guys are getting older. One is injury prone, and the other one isn't really the same player he used to be. And Norman Powell's 32. So I mean, it's just kind of like sad to see, yet again another first round exit, by the Clippers, man. So just got a new arena. It's crazy, man. It's just crazy.
It is indeed tough, but we can move on to OKC versus Denver. That series to me, man, I gotta say I'm rolling with the young guns. I think we're at the point now where the old guys can't hold them off any longer. There is no more. There is. I won't say there is no more experience that's gonna take out some of the youth. It's just that I think the youth has experience now. OKC isn't a young team in the sense of they haven't been here. They've been to the playoffs here a few times. I think they're ready to go they're gonna make the next step. And I think it happens this year. I think they get past Denver. I got that series going 6 games. Um, tell me what you tell me what you got.
I agree. I probably got it going to 5. I think simply because one of the it's just about matchups at this point. Jokic is probably the only guy that's going to get his points. He's going to get his shine. Murray as well. But I mean, like you said, this is a younger team. This is more like faster team on transition. Like these guys are gonna go and they're gonna score. I think defensively wise, we're gonna have to see where that goes, but and just how the IQ of Jokic works in this series. But overall, man, like you said, I don't really think Russ is gonna have enough in the tank, to keep up with them guys. I don't really think Aaron Gordon and those guys. I don't think the depth isn't deep enough, at least in my opinion. It's not deep enough. We talk about depth all the time, especially in the NBA. So I think the depth is more like youthful and over in OKC experience, and they got a young guy out there. You know what I'm saying? Alex Caruso, he ain't young, but I mean he's young enough, to go out there and run that second unit coming off the bench. Man, it's Yeah, that's gonna be an interesting series. I know you said 6, but I probably got it going to 5. I probably got it going to 5.
But you're absolutely right in terms of the matchup, man. Once we get this deep into the playoffs, and really in general, especially in the Western Conference, knowing that there isn't a big separator between these teams, throughout the regular season at all, matchups is where it starts to matter the most. Talk about guys like Hartenstein that you're gonna throw at Joker. Talk about guys, you talk about Chet Holmgren, who also has, has the length at the very least to be able to play against Joker. And like I said, we'll also have to see with guys like Jalen Williams. Will they continue to ascend? I mean, remember, going into the playoffs, we talked about, hey, that which of the secondary guys are gonna be able to step up and elevate their game. He's one of those ones too that has to elevate where has to elevate his level of play. And if they can continue to use their depth, because what I start to know is at least is that the lineups tend to shrink. The depth you use your depth in that first round because you probably got an easier matchup when you're a higher seed. But as you keep going, you probably start to cut down the amount of guys that you're starting to use. I'm intrigued to see how many guys OKC throw at the Denver Nuggets, and if they're
Mhm.
still able to use that level of depth that they've been able to use all season and even through that first round, then like you said, 5 games is likely going to be where it stands. Again, me, I always got to show respect to teams that have done it, guys that have done it. So I'm going to show respect to to a team with championship caliber over there in Denver. They figured out how to get past a Clippers team that I thought would have given them a lot of fits, which they did. But playing a younger team, this may be the moment where OKC just shows everybody like, hey, look, we're separating from the rest of the pack. We showed y'all during the regular season. Now in the postseason, we have to show y'all again. And if they're able to do it in 5, that would be a huge indicator of there is no one close to us right now, and at least
Right,
at
right,
least not within our conference.
right,
Um,
right.
so the next series we can get to is my boys. Let's go ahead and knock them out, man. The Los Angeles Lakers get put down in 5 against the Minnesota Timberwolves. A lot of defensive issues arose in our series. A lot of problems showed themselves in that series. LeBron James having to be the defensive anchor for this team at 40 years old probably wasn't the greatest of ideas. Luca didn't look didn't look like he had that burst at the end of the season. Like he started to wear down, like the injury started to mount up, and he didn't quite have it. Austin Reeves didn't look the same as the guy that we saw in the regular season. Injuries. Austin Reeves had a toe injury that was supposed to keep him out for about a month, but gutted it out to play in the playoffs. No excuses, but just the fact that right now that LA team, we it was a very disappointing end. I cannot lie. After getting the 50 wins in JJ's first year, I was very disappointed to see how we finished the year off. But you know how it goes, man. What you thinking?
I just think honestly, bro, it was. I'm trying to be more like respectful with the way I say it, and it's not like disrespectful at all. It's just more. I think it's one of those situations where, and I was talking about it with a colleague. A lot of people assume when you put these superstars together that it's gonna instantly click. It's kind of like playground ball for like the first couple of months because you're still trying to get used to each other. It's kind of like you're running out there. So a lot of people really thought it was gonna be, at least not sweet, but it was gonna be like, all right, cool. Like we can just like get past these guys. It's like no, like you guys haven't played together that much, and again we talked about it last episode where certain situations made more sense. The AD situation made sense there. Like AD being out for them really made sense to why they lost that series. You going out and getting two ball dominant players or having two ball dominant players as in LeBron and Luca, and both of those guys need the ball. Like you said, injuries happen. Apparently, Luca suffered a back injury in Game 5, and there's been reports. I can't confirm it was true or not. There's been reports that said LeBron has also suffered a MCL strain
He
in
did.
Game 5. So
He
I
did.
mean, it's a lot of that has came to play as well, where it's like injuries really slowed them down as well too. And like I said, with Austin Reeves. Um, but had had all of this been, even before Game 5, like I said, like you needed a defensive anchor. That's what AD was for. LeBron had to take on the load where mentally I feel like as an IQ, he had to take on the defensive and the offensive load. Luka's not going to do it. We already know Luka's not a good defensive player, and I feel like that's something we have to hold him accountable for. You're not good defensively. I mean, it is what it
Yeah.
is. But it was just one of those things where Minnesota took advantage of the matchup. They took advantage of what wasn't there. And then they got a lot of post play, so they don't have any big men, what I'm saying? They couldn't really score. And they look lost. They look kind of lost out there too. You seen JJ Redick, his frustration early in that series as well, getting sets and everything together. So that's something that a new coach had to deal with, especially a coach as young as JJ Redick was first coming in. You first coming in, you had AD, and now you getting in Luca all in your first year, right?
It's a lot. Yeah,
First
it's his
year,
first year.
yeah. You getting a lot done in your first year, so that's a lot to handle and a lot to take in. You know what I'm saying, and try to adjust within a short period of time.
This was the first test I thought not Luca, but I thought JJ Redick failed as a head coach. This was where I started to see him. Like, oh, he is really young. Like I know during the regular season, he exceeded my expectations during the regular season just based off how we had performed in years past with different coaches. He exceeded my expectations, but this in the playoffs is where you start to see, oh, there is no adjustments. He doesn't have he isn't as equipped for this as one would have thought. Um, like you said, the mix of having a young coach dealing with a bunch of significant changes in the throughout the course of the season. And like you said, I mean, guys also needing to step up as well. Rob Palinka, though, I'm looking at Rob Palinka and I'm saying, look, you know what the idea is and how you need to build this team for the offseason. You gotta try to find a way to get it done. You gotta go find you a defensive anchor at the five. You know what I'm saying? Really, truthfully, what's funny is that everything that Anthony Davis had claimed he needed while he was here was still very much true
Until
in why
yeah.
you lost this series. And I
Hmm.
mean, I understood what AD was saying, and I wanted to get that 5 man for AD because hey, because when we won our championship, that it made the most sense. You had AD at the four, JaVale and Dwight at the five, however the lineup shook out that night, and you allowed him to be a defensive presence and not have to be the sole defensive anchor. Like you know what I'm saying, he was able to roam around and play more like a free safety type of role and use his athleticism, which is a 6'11" guy with guard like skills. um, look again. I'm not upset at the AD trade. I'll never be upset at the AD trade because I thought we got equal value for the guy. I mean, I thought we probably got more than equal value for the guy that we traded him for. And long term we got an
Yeah.
answer in terms of who's going to be the the centerpiece for this team moving forward. But in the now, you lost out for sure. In the now, this team would have been better served having AD for the playoffs this year. Um,
Hmm.
it just is what it is. And like you said, man, when you throw in great players together, this isn't fantasy sports. You can't just throw all the names
Hmm.
on one
All the
team
names
and
in
think
there.
that's how it works.
Hmm.
Depth,
Hmm.
you know what I'm saying? Rotations. Hey, how does the rest of the team operate? The last time I've seen two guys really be able to like dominate for a team and push them towards a championship is Kyrie and LeBron, where it was literally those two guys going back and forth between, hey, look, you got this position, I got the next one, and we just gonna keep effing these boys up until we get a championship, and that ended up working. But it's just I mean, like I said, I mean, no, sorry, before you as we keep going, congrats to Anthony Edwards. Very proud of him. If it was gonna be any young guy to put my team out, I'm glad it was Anthony Edwards. Like I have a deep admiration for his game. He is one of those guys that like the way everybody talks about. Oh, we don't got any dogs in the league anymore. Our young guys don't want. Our young guys don't really want. They don't play with that type of hunger and that fire. Anthony Edwards is the prime example of why that is wrong. Anthony Edwards wants it. He's taken out other legends before. He wants to play against the greats. He's voiced that, and he's voiced that before. Um, I'm excited to see him. If now depending on how the matchup shake out with the Warriors and the Rockets and whoever they get, he may get an opportunity to play another all time great and get a chance to go head to head and try to take him out. Which again, I love the fact that he wants that challenge. And and is embracing every single bit of it. I know he said that he doesn't want to be the face of the league, but to me, brother, you can't deny your destiny, big dog. It's here. Like, like this is what guys that are gonna carry the league. This is what they do in these moments. So yeah, shout out to Anthony Edwards, man, and what he's done so far during these playoffs.
Yeah, it's like you said. He a lot of people were saying like he doesn't want to be the face of the league and all this yada yada yada. I feel like even after this series, man, like someone said before that was like you cannot complain about not wanting to be the face of the league when you putting up 43, you putting up like 30 plus and all this type of stuff like that in the series. You know what I'm saying? Like it like the evidence shows without you talking about it. You know what I'm saying? So um like again, it's me personally, like you said, there's not a better person to put him out. I don't know if you've seen the post game, like stuff that he was doing. He was doing like the
Yeah,
Lakers of five. That's crazy. And he was walking the streets of LA, telling fans like, yo, I don't know why y'all rocking with me because I just knocked y'all out. I just sent y'all home. Like he was doing a lot of antics, man. But that's that's the face of the league behavior that we kind of need, that charisma that you give, you know what I'm saying? Like that kind of give us a little attitude, you know what I'm saying? Because Bron already had it. Bron already had
right.
it. Bron was the good guy. He was the villain for a short period of time, but he was the guy that, had the good image to get answers. Not saying that Ant doesn't have a good image, but the guy who's outspoken, who has charisma, who's gonna speak his mind. Like, yeah, that's the face of the league that I feel like is heading to. And he the guy. He gonna be the guy.
Right, absolutely, bro. Like and that's what I'm saying. When you have opposing fans rocking with you, dog, like, bro, you got it. You just got the juice, dog.
Yeah.
And this is juice that you cannot manufacture. You
Yeah.
can't make the people wanna like rally behind you. You just naturally have it. Like you said, that natural charisma that he carries, bro, is something that Jason Tatum doesn't have, and he's good enough. Joker obviously doesn't give a damn. You know what I'm saying? Uh, SGA, I think SGA is he's cool. He's cool and subtle. I don't think the people just don't
Yeah.
because he's not this big personality. People rock with him, but they rock with him because he got that cool, subtle
He
type of
just
personality.
yeah.
It is so it but Anthony Edwards, he feels big. He feels big when he walks into the room. He plays big. You know what I'm saying? The number, like you watch Anthony Edwards play, you're like, dang, bro, he played with a high level of intensity. He plays with Russell Westbrook levels of intensity and has shades of a Michael Jordan esque type of game in terms of like the completeness of it. Not saying he's Michael Jordan by any stretch, but just saying that in terms of the completeness of it, where it's like Russ, we always knew there were limitations to his game, no matter even at his peak, we knew there were limitations. Anthony Edwards, the one thing he's done consistently throughout his career is get better each and every season, which makes people can invest into that. Because I mean, really, I thought John Morant was going to be the one, but John Morant
Yeah.
has had these troubles, hasn't quite hasn't always improved each and every year. And it seems like things outside of basketball are taking him or making him stray further and further away from the path of being the face. Even as a
Mhm.
Nike guy, he's still struggling to stay on the path to be the face because it's kind of typically it's always lined up with the Nike guys being the face of the league.
Which
And
is so weird. Which is
an
weird. Yeah.
Adidas guy being the face of the league is kind of
Yeah.
crazy. That's how you know you got the juice, bro. You can't make this up.
But a
It is
lot of
what it
times
is.
too, I
You know what I'm
think I
saying?
think when I talk about it, man, it's like um I don't think Ja is out of the running from being, the face of the league because he's still young. But I feel like Ant has a clear, I'm talking about a clear indication of being the face of the league. You know what I'm saying? And then you gotta think about it too, where you go back and say like Ant has that Russell Westbrook type of charisma. I think he has a 90s charisma, bro. Like he's gonna talk, he's gonna say, if I was to compare him to a player, it's probably like Gary Payton. He gonna talk and he gonna let you know he talking. You know what I'm saying? Like he gonna get it, he gonna make it known. You know what I'm saying? I think, and it goes back to like John Morant. He's not much of a talker. He's an actions guy. He's a guy who's definitely gonna like play antics with you. He's like, oh
Yeah.
yeah, y'all got me with these celebration. Cool. Let me throw the bomb on y'all.
And
Let me
look,
throw the bomb on y'all. You know what I'm saying?
and
But that's why I love this era, bro. Because it's like you got the guys that's gonna talk it, and then you got the other guys who can talk it, but they gonna be petty with it. You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
I love that. I love that. So it's just like he got
Hey,
he got
look,
the sidekick right there.
exactly, man. And this season, it feels like the we've always been talking about the changing of the guard. Oh, it feels a lot realer today than it has in other years. This really feels like the shift is really happening. So I mean, uh, again, bro, I'm entertained. As far as like the next round of the conference semis, we obviously don't know their matchup just yet as the time we're recording this. But for example, if say let's say the Rockets win the instead of Rockets win the or win this series against the Warriors, and we see Rockets versus Timberwolves, who would you take in that?
Let's see. That's a tough one because I feel like that series is going to expose a lot for the Rockets in a good way. I think what so many people were talking about Jalen Green being the face of that team. So I feel like people are gonna step him aside and they're gonna be like, hey, like the twin, I mean Thompson. They're gonna like, all right, cool, let's see what he can do in this next round. You know what I'm saying? Second year guy, you know what I'm saying? Going up against another guy who's like experienced, young, with Ant, who's looking for rivals. I think this is gonna be interesting. This is gonna be interesting because I feel like this series has a lot of energy around it. You know what I'm saying? And the Rockets ain't gonna back down. We thought they was done 3-1 against the
Right.
Warriors. We thought they was done. And they again charisma like resilience got them boys back to a game 7. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? And then you got the War. I mean not the Warriors, sorry, but you got the Wolves, man. If they play the Wolves, and ain't playing. And see red right now, bro. Like he want to get past that second round, bro. He wanna tell people like, yo, y'all been talking about Denver all season. Y'all been talking about OKC all season. I think he has a mission. I'm not gonna get too ahead of myself right now, but I think he has a a vision on who he wants to see in that conference final. I don't know if you've been paying attention to the it ain't no beep, but the little remarks. He
I
want to
ain't,
see
I, I,
somebody.
I
Oh,
ain't
he
peep.
want to. He
I have not
listen,
peep.
bro.
Put me on game real quick. Put me on game.
Oh, he want to see Shay. He want to see Shay, bro. He want to see Shay. That's what it is. Him and Shay be going back and forth, bro. And not only that, Shay and Jason Tatum be going back and forth on like Instagram with the captions and stuff, bro. Like, bro, he want to see Shay in that conference final.
And
That's what
I'm
he
not gonna
want,
lie.
bro.
For the betterment of the game, that's exactly what the hell I want to see too. We need a rivalry, dog. You know what I'm saying? We need that. But like you said about the Rockies and a potential Rockets versus Wolves matchup, the biggest key in that piece to me will be, the biggest factors for me will be who's going to be the number one scorer for the Rockets because that hasn't been as consistent as you would like. Jalen Green has the potential to be he should be the best scorer. Jalen Green should. He should be the best scorer
Mhm.
for the Rockets on a night in, night out basis. That hasn't always happened. They've been able to win in different ways, which shout out to them. Shout out to Ime Adoka, who's a great head coach. So this is no surprise to me about how his teams have been able to be resilient. Um, but then you talk about Amin Thompson. To me, that's going to be a critical piece because that's going to be the guy defensively that can change everything in a potential Timberwolves matchup where he can make life tough for the Timberwolves because of his athleticism, because of how versatile he is as a defender on that wing. Yeah, he can take he can get into your best guys and make life tough for him. So hey, could Ant still be that guy in that series? Can he? I think Ant will still be the best player on the floor. Can he make life tough for him? That is a potential problem for the Timberwolves if they were to match up against the Houston Rockets. I would still probably take the Timberwolves in that matchup, though, if I'm being completely honest. Now to the Warriors. The Warriors, to me, I have a hard. What makes it hard for me to pick the Warriors now is because Jimmy Butler is hampered, and he
Mhm.
looks like he's
Mhm.
really hampered by that injury that happened in this Rocket series. So I don't know if he were not even fully healthy. If he was just not laboring as much, I would feel better about their chances as far as a deep playoff run goes. Um, but with those injuries, I think I would take Minnesota in that series. It is. I mean, the biggest issue there will be Draymond Green and can Julius Randle play at a certain level against Draymond Green. To me,
Mhm.
Rudy Gobert as well because both of those guys, I have a hard time. I have a hard time believing they can give me consistent play it's hard. You know what? With that being said, I think I would have to go Golden State. I flip my answer on that. I said Minnesota. I would have to I would have to go with Golden State if they saw the Timberwolves. I think I would have to
Mm.
go with Golden State. Yeah, I think I'll go with Golden State.
That's
I
bold.
think.
Cause hey, listen, that's bold, but I'm with you. I'm with you too. It's just more like you said with with the Julius Randle situation with Draymond Green. You seen how Draymond Green has been playing against. I can never pronounce his name. The guy in
Sengun.
Houston, Sangoon. Like
Yep.
toward like when it came clutch, I think it was game game four. I think it was
Or
game four.
yeah.
Yes, the last second possession for the
Yep.
Rockets, and Draymond, for a lot of people who was in foul trouble, might I add, he played really good on ball defense, 1-on-1 defense against Shangoon, and so that also would ask the questions like we haven't really seen Julius Randle really, you know, elevate when he was traded over to Minnesota. We just seen a glimpse of him, but like again, like Draymond Green is a former defensive player of the year. This man ain't really scared of nobody at this point. What I'm saying, unless he's foul, is in foul trouble or whatever. So and Rudy Gobert, what I'm saying, I think he had like a little 29 and 10 game, one game in the last series with the Lakers, whatever. What I'm saying, but that's not a consistent thing for him. That's not a consistent thing for him. But I think matchup wise, you know, with Jimmy Butler being out, what I'm saying, with Draymond Green constantly being in foul trouble, um, it's swinging towards, Minnesota. But again, I'll definitely take the Warriors simply because of the mindset of one Stephen Curry and just knowing his leadership on that team, his experience on that team.
Yeah. That's where I'm at with it. Like I said, it's not an easy matchup to call at all. That series will go seven in my mind. I will believe that will go seven. Um, but those are my thoughts there. As we move over to the Eastern Conference, uh, let's go Knicks. Let's go Knicks and Pistons. That series, man. The Pistons, dog. They were they're a little bit ahead of schedule. They got to figure out some things in terms of who's going to be that secondary scorer for them. Um, but kudos to what they were able to do. They found their identity, and that's the biggest thing moving forward. That they know who they are. But now the next step is evolving within that identity, and can you find the next scorer for Kate Cunningham? Can you continue to elevate? I thought they did. I thought they played a great series, man. But ultimately, I give Tom Thibodeau and his group credit. That's a playoff experience team over there in New York. Thibodeau, obviously one of the more experienced coaches that we have in the game. Probably he may be he may be the most experienced coach we have currently coaching right now. Um,
Mhm.
Nick's got it done. Jalen Brunson keeps showing why he was one of those. Keep showing why he's worth every single penny. Probably more than what he's getting paid. He took that pay cut that I don't understand, but you know what I'm saying. I mean, but shout out to the Nova boys for getting the job done in that first series in the opening round series. They'll play the Boston Celtics in the next round. But what were your thoughts on that Knicks and Pistons series?
I think it was game. I'm trying to think what game. I think it would maybe been game 4 or 5. I think there was a foul call that should have been called. I can't remember, but I know that was the game where I think the Knicks won by 1. Um, I think that series ended the way it did. I think we've seen a side of Detroit that is growing, especially after what we've been seeing from years and years and years to come with them. It's like, dang, like this is a team that's like very, 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 very bad. And then Kate Cunningham just stepped up and said, "All right, cool. We changing that." And the coach is changing, everything changed. I think we're seeing the elevation of Jalen Brunson as a scorer. We're seeing that with him within this series. Like, he hit the game winner to send it on, going to the next round. I think I think the question is, like you said, with Detroit, who's going to be their second scorer? Who's going to be their secondary scorer? And they can go from there. I think with New York moving forward, where does the help come with Brunson? Because Brunson can't do it all at this point. You're going to play the Celtics. You're going to play, and not only that, like the odds are in your favor because Boston is banged up. But um, going back to this series, man, like New York played New York basketball. There was some glimpses, some scares, but they ultimately got it done. The guy who is the guy on that team, he got it done. He hit the game winner. That's what he do. That's what he get paid. The pay cut money to get paid for. I don't understand that pay cut either. But um, yeah, we're seeing an evolution in New York right now, and I think with that series, that's the only thing that I can come accustomed to it right now. But um, yeah, that's all I got from it. I feel like it was similar to even teams, but it was just one team who was just kind of still figuring it out compared to a team who's been experienced and they're just moving on.
So in Boston versus New York, I
Yeah,
know for the Northeast that's gonna be
that's the
great pageantry. They
series.
gonna that's the
They can
series
eat
they've
that
been.
up.
Yeah. Oh yeah, you already know they're gonna love that. Man, I got Boston in five. I don't have this going long. I don't, New York just isn't good enough. They just
Mhm.
aren't good enough. If Carl Anthony Towns, here's my thing. I struggle because Carl Anthony Towns to me with all the talent in the world, bro, he disappears a lot, and I just for no reason cannot understand why that is. The Celtics have too much depth. The Celtics have scoring in every unit that they put out onto the floor. There'll never be a lack of scoring for them. Um, it just to me no shot from New York in my mind. I think Celtics in five is where I'm going with.
Mhm. Celtics in five. I think because Boston is so banged up, I think Boston still wins that series. Give me six. Give me Celtics in six, and I think it's going to be close because of that. You know what I'm saying? Because of that. But
Yeah.
New York has to take advantage of that because I think Drew, excuse me, Drew Holiday is out. I think Drew Holiday is out right now. With an
Mm,
injury, and I think
yeah,
Jason Tatum has like a hurt wrist at this point.
he
So you
does.
gotta you gotta take advantage of that. But if you don't, then it's 6 games. Give me Celtics in six.
Yeah, I think Jalen Brown's good enough to do this.
Mhm.
I think Jalen Brown's good enough to carry the weight, right? Not to
Yeah,
carry the load, man.
yeah.
I'm not gonna lie. I do feel strongly about them and what they got going on. Uh, Cleveland, not sorry, not Cleveland, but Indiana versus Bucks. That series right up. I think while we were away. That series I was very proud of that series because that was one of those ones that I picked early, and I feel proud that Indiana showed everybody everything that I had said that hey, look, they're gonna shoot, they're gonna outpace the the Milwaukee Bucks. They can shoot the lights out of the ball. They can shoot the air out of it. And ultimately Milwaukee wasn't built for this. Now, unfortunately, we lost Damian Lillard to an Achilles injury, and that's going to lead to another conversation that we can have at some point. But
Mhm.
Indiana versus the Milwaukee Bucks, that series won't go the way it went. Were you surprised by anything?
No, I think it kind of just got to the situation with LA where you lose pieces like back in the past, and it's coming to haunt you at this point. So I mean, Damian going down, what I'm saying, I show his ETA on that. He's probably gonna be out for a year. But man, it was just the Bucks didn't have enough. Like you said, the Pacers outpaced them, what I'm saying, that whole entire series. And obviously, um Giannis can't do it all by himself. He can't do it all by himself. I think it was who was it Gary Trent that was on that team that scored 37? Gary Trent
Yeah.
Jr. And everybody was, and I know a lot of analysts saying like Gary Trent is not gonna hit 10 threes a game for you to win the series. It's just not gonna happen. But just moving on to like the next series, if you will, uh they play the Cavaliers. I feel like the winner of game one is gonna decide that series. Momentum is gonna shift once game one is over. And it goes back to what you said about Indiana's pace. Cleveland has a pace too, but they're more consistent than Indiana, in my opinion, in terms of scoring. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? I feel like depth wise, they have a little bit more experience compared to Indiana's young core. But that, to me, whoever wins game one is definitely going to win that series.
In that series right there, that this series tells me everything about Cleveland that I need to know. Like, remember the question
Mhm.
that I had about them going into the playoffs? Well, we'll find out a lot about about y'all as a team in this series because to me,
Mhm.
Indiana's Indiana to me isn't scared of anyone that they meet up with in
No.
the playoffs. They're
Mm-mm.
gonna play their game. They're gonna run and gun. Can you keep up? All the scoring that you did against Miami, well, you throw out the window because that was Miami. You know what I'm saying? Can you do that against a team that can really meet you eye to eye and do this for 4 quarters? We're gonna find out a lot about everybody. And when I say everybody, I talked about just Darius Garland before, but Donovan Mitchell. Because we got, because I'm gonna be honest here, man. What is the last series in the playoffs that you saw Donovan Mitchell really look the part?
Yeah.
Because it's been since 2020, and we all think about that one series with Utah and Denver all those years back. It, that's it though. Like we haven't
Mm,
seen it since then. Not in my mind.
mm,
And the best thing you and in sports and in this game of basketball and every sport in general, you have to update your resume. What have you done to update that resume? Because like, the
mm-hmm.
last thing we can really remember you for is that series, and you didn't even win that series. Might I add? You know what I'm saying? You played great, but you didn't even win. That was a first round series at that. So you don't have. So for me, are you going to take that step and push this team forward? Like I said, I'm looking at both of those guys over there. I just put on Darius Garland going into the playoffs, but if they're going to win, if they're going to continue to win, and if they want to see Boston or see whoever in the Eastern Conference Finals, then both of those guys going to need to elevate the level of play, and it will be required.
Yeah.
If Giannis and Dame struggled in that series before Dame got hurt, then I'm looking at Cleveland and saying, hey, look, they taking heads off over there in Indiana.
Right.
Be
Right.
careful.
Right.
Be very
Mm-hmm.
careful. So
Mm-hmm.
I want to see something. That's just me giving out a challenge to Donovan Mitchell. Obviously, he'll never see this, but it's me just giving out a challenge to him to see like, hey, can you take this Cleveland team to the next step? Because y'all have had such a great regular season. I would love to see y'all take the next step
Yeah.
and be a legitimate title contender. It starts in series like these right here, where you're playing against a great team. So
Right.
we'll see.
Right.
Um, oh, but also before we leave off of this, Tyrese Halliburton, kudos,
Kudos to
kudos.
Tyrese, man.
People because people don't want to put Tyrese in certain conversations because his
Hey,
game maybe isn't always
did you
always what
see the
people like to
poll?
see.
Did you see the players poll that they said he was the most overrated player in the league?
I
The
did.
anonymous, yeah, that's crazy to me. I always thought Tyrese was in that category of being one of the most elite guards in the league. He may not be as explosive, but here's my thing. I think we have to kind of stop looking at scoring only as a way to categorize these guys because this guy is a great playmaker. He's a great facilitator. He can score the ball when he wants to. He's a decent defender. You know what I'm saying? And he can run the offense. If that team does not have Tyrese Halliburton, that team is nothing. I don't
Mm,
understand what the overrated narrative came from because at the end of the day, y'all making it seem like if they didn't have Tyrese, they would be the same team. No,
right.
if you take away that man off that team, it's a wrap. You know what I'm saying? It's a wrap. So
Yeah.
I just don't get where the slander comes from when it comes to Tyrese Halliburton, man. Y'all, I don't know what y'all got going on in that players meeting or whatever got going on, but y'all must really don't like that man.
I'm gonna
But
tell you.
y'all
I'm
be
gonna
doing
tell
that
you. I'm gonna tell you what it is, and you know what it is too. Because he light skin.
because he likes it.
Because he light skin, bro. That's the only
Yeah.
because think about it, bro. I'm just keep it a band. Why do people not put Jason Tatum in the face of the league category? Like Jason Tatum's got every single accolade and has done every single thing that would warrant him being considered the face of the league. He's been in the conference finals since he got into the league.
Mm-hmm.
And for some reason, when you talk about guys that people want to rally behind and be behind, it's never Jason Tatum. It's
Mm-hmm.
never him. Tyrese Halliburton. Tyrese came out in the same class as Anthony Edwards and LaMelo Ball.
Anthony Evans in the middle ball, yeah.
He's consistently gotten better since he's been in the league. People they don't talk about him as if him and Anthony Edwards are in the same class. You would think, I mean, Just to be honest, you would think that Anthony Edwards has lapped him in terms of accomplishments. They're both Olympians. Now, obviously, Anthony Edwards had a different role on that Olympic team than Halliburton, but they both accomplished very much the same things so far in their careers. They've helped elevate their teams and their franchises to a consistent place where, hey, they're on the doorstep of making the NBA Finals. They're on the doorstep of being a potential championship team. I don't
Yeah.
understand. I like you said. I think it's a. I don't like there are things outside of basketball that make you that propel you in front of the fans and everybody like that. But in terms of just the game itself, I don't see overrated. I don't see overrated because I thought Tyrese Halliburton has been properly rated. I've never heard anybody tell me Tyrese Halliburton's top 10. I haven't heard anybody put him in those types of conversations. I thought he's been properly rated. I think maybe people just don't like him. I think that's kind of my mindset on it. I think people maybe just don't like Tyrese Halliburton, but it is what
Yeah.
it is. It is what it is. But before we move off of this, who do we have winning this series? Cleveland, Indiana.
I'll take. I got Cleveland in 6. Give me Cleveland in 6. I think that team has been too consistent all year for
Hmm.
them not to win that, to not reach the Eastern Conference Finals, especially with it being the matchup everyone wants to see. You know what I'm saying? So they
Right.
want to see the Boston, Cleveland, Western, even Eastern Conference Finals matchup. And plus, like you said, like yeah, Indiana they have pace, but so does Cleveland. But Cleveland they have more veterans and they're more consistent shooting wise.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
like that starting lineup itself is lethal in a way. And then you got Ty Jerome coming out the bench doing his thing. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
He ain't no Peyton Pritchard, but yeah, he pretty much he there. You know what I'm saying?
Um, I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go Indiana. I'm gonna
Hmm.
go Indiana. I think.
Okay.
I, I just they've been here before. They've they've played in these types of series. Like I said, they made it to a conference finals just last year. Nothing that I think Cleveland has is anything I believe that Indiana can't handle. That's kind of the thing. And as far as for me, man, I think Indiana as a team, maybe not during the regular season, but when it comes out to the playoffs, they're more consistent in terms of they're gonna always score. They're gonna always score at a high clip, and if they can steal one of these first two games on the road in Cleveland, then they take home court advantage. I think if they do that, and I believe they will,
Mhm.
I got Indiana finding a way to get it done. I
Yeah.
truly do. But
Okay. Yeah.
shoot, man, I
Shout
think
out shout out Indiana, man. That's get
hey
high
man,
on that,
hey,
man.
the Indianimals, baby. Yeah, they know what time it is, bro.
Nah,
Yeah,
he
I got
came up with that.
my
Ain't
my.
no way.
No,
Nah,
I
he
did not come up with Indianimals, bro. Indianimals are a real
Indianimals.
thing.
Listen,
Indianimals,
I've
yeah.
been a Colts fan my whole life, and I ain't never heard that. Cuz
You ain't never
never,
heard. Oh my God, don't worry about it.
never.
I got. Hey, look, bro. So they got this dance, right? They got this dance they do called
They got a dance too.
they got a dance, bro. They got a dance. You know what I'm saying? I got a homeboy that know how to do it. He don't never want to show me. He'll never want to show. He don't want to show the people what he can really do. How he really be getting down. You know what I'm saying? But I'm gonna get him to show you the Indie Animals dance, bro. I swear. I promise you. Hey, shout out to the Indie Animals. Shout out to the Pacers. You know what I'm saying? Go crazy. You know what I'm saying? Make it back to the Eastern Conference Finals so we can see y'all versus Boston again. I'm with it. I think I got something for Boston this time around too.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? But yeah.
Mm.
But with that being said, though, I mean, I don't think we got anything else. I don't. Is there anything else like that you came across?
Nah,
I
nah,
didn't think so either. It's been hey, look,
nah.
man, hey, look, man, it's a quiet time. WNBA ramping up though. WNBA is
WNBA
ramping
is
up.
ramping up. I don't know if you've seen the preseason game. I think it was the Washington Mystic. I don't know. I think it was Washington and maybe even New York. Let me tell y'all something. I don't know the girl's name specifically, but let me tell y'all something, man. These girls ain't playing with y'all. They out here competing. They not about to be cute. They not keeping it cute no more. They not out here trying to like, oh, I'm breaking it. There's one girl, Henderson. I think her last name is Henderson. She plays for the Connecticut Sun. This girl literally plays with long inch nails, and she's shooting lights out with that ball, bro. I think her name like Destiny Henderson or something like that. I don't know, not Destiny Henderson. That's
Wait,
South
wait.
Carolina. But
I'm about to say, bro. I said if it was Destiny Henderson and you ain't
no, it's
know
not this.
who she was,
It's not
I
Destiny
might be
Henderson.
very disappointed.
No, it's not Destiny Henderson. Nah. Shout out Destiny Henderson. You know, shout out to one. I
Yeah.
always shout out to one. But I can't think of her name. But she had like acrylic nail, the little acrylic nails and stuff, and she be really shooting that ball, bro. Like I'm telling y'all right now, if y'all ain't paying attention to not just WNBA but women's basketball, I need y'all to pay attention, bro. Because the competitiveness in women's basketball is getting high, it's getting elite. Them girls ain't playing. Like tune in, bro. Stop playing to tune in, bro. Stop playing to tune
Hey
in.
man, the WNBA comes at a great time for me because it's a name between phase between like the end of college college basketball and
Mm-hmm.
that lull in between the NFL draft and preseason and stuff like that. The WNBA definitely provides me what I need to get through the rest
Mm-hmm.
of this year. Which is like it's
Mm-hmm.
a slow time for sports. I mean, having the WNBA, having baseball, what I'm saying, it definitely helps ease us into that the next eases into the fall and to get back to football. But with
Yeah.
that being said, I'm Shanti Stewart. He's D'Angelo Stevenson. We are the Gym Dropper Sports Podcast, and we out.